The summer sun beat down on the cracked asphalt of the truck stop parking lot outside Phoenix, Arizona. Marcus Hammer Davidson wiped the sweat from his tattooed forearm as he finished checking the oil on his Harley. At 42, with a full sleeve of ink covering both arms and a leather vest that bore the patches of the Desert Riders MC, he looked exactly like what he was, a man who'd lived hard and ridden harder. He'd stopped for gas and a cold drink, planning to be back on the road in 10 minutes. But as he straightened up from his bike, something caught his eye. A small figure in a bright yellow sundress stood near the edge of the parking lot, clutching something in her hands and staring directly at him. She couldn't have been more than 6 or 7 years old. Her dark curly hair was pulled into 2 uneven pigtails, and her sneakers were scuffed and dirty. But it was her eyes that stopped Marcus cold. Big, brown, and filled with a determination that seemed far too old for her small face. Before he could look away, she started walking toward him with purpose, her little legs carrying her across the hot pavement with surprising speed. "Mister?" she called out, her voice clear despite the rumble of trucks idling nearby. Marcus glanced around, hoping she was talking to someone else, but the parking lot was nearly empty except for a few long-haul truckers inside the diner. He pulled off his sunglasses and looked down at her as she stopped just a few feet away. "Yeah, kid?" She held out her hands, and Marcus saw what she'd been clutching, a crumpled $100 bill, worn and soft from being folded and refolded many times. "If I pay you," she said, her voice trembling slightly but her gaze steady, "can you be my dad?" Marcus felt like he'd been punched in the gut. In 20 years of riding with the Desert Riders, through bar fights and bad decisions, through loss and redemption, nothing had prepared him for this moment. He crouched down slowly, bringing himself to her eye level. "What's your name, sweetheart?" "Lily." She pushed the $100 bill closer to him. "I saved this. It's real money. My mama's boyfriend says it's enough to buy lots of things. Is it enough to buy a dad?" Marcus's jaw tightened. Years ago, he'd been a father. His daughter Emma would have been about this age now, before the accident that took her and his wife from him. That grief had sent him spiraling into a darkness that the motorcycle club had eventually pulled him out of. Looking at this little girl now felt like staring into a ghost. "Lily, where's your mama?" The child's eyes darted toward the diner, then back to him. "Inside, with Kenny. He's mean." She said it matter-of-factly, as if she were describing the weather. "What do you mean, mean?" Lily's small hand went to her upper arm, rubbing it through the fabric of her dress. "He hurts Mama when he gets mad, and sometimes he gets mad at me too. Last night, he said I was a worthless burden and that Mama should have got rid of me when she had the chance." Her lip quivered, but she didn't cry. "I heard you tell the gas man that you were going to California. Can I come? I'll be really good. I can clean and I'm very quiet." Marcus felt a rage building in his chest that he hadn't experienced in years. He'd spent the last decade working to control that anger, to channel it into something productive through the club's veteran outreach programs. But right now, he wanted to walk into that diner and introduce Kenny to the business end of his fist. Instead, he kept his voice gentle. "Lily, honey, I can't just take you to California, but I'm not going to leave you here either. Tell me what's going on. Take your time. If you believe in the power of observation, in trusting your instincts, and in the courage it takes to speak up when something feels wrong, then pause for a moment. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to Bike Diaries. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from today, because this story will remind you that heroes come in all sizes, and sometimes the smallest voices carry the most important messages." Lily looked at the money in her hands, then back up at Marcus. "Mama used to be different, before Kenny. She used to read me stories and make pancakes shaped like animals. But then Daddy left and Mama got sad, and Kenny showed up and he seemed nice at first. But he's not nice. What happened to your arm, Lily? She pulled up the sleeve of her sundress, revealing a set of bruises that formed the unmistakable shape of finger marks. Marcus's hands clenched into fists. Kenny grabbed me yesterday because I spilled juice on his newspaper. Mama tried to stop him, but he pushed her down. That's when I decided I needed a new dad, a strong one who could protect us. She looked at Marcus's tattooed arms, his broad shoulders, his battle-worn face. You look strong, and your motorcycle looks fast enough to get away if we need to. Marcus pulled out his phone. Lily, I'm going to make some calls, but first, I need you to trust me. Can you do that? She studied him for a long moment, this tiny child with the weight of the world on her shoulders, trying to decide if this stranger was trustworthy. Finally, she nodded. Good. Now, is your mama in danger right now? Is Kenny hurting her in there? No, they're just eating. Kenny's always nicer when there's people around. It's when we get home that he gets mean. Marcus dialed a number he knew by heart. His club brother, Ray Steele Martinez, had been a cop before joining the Desert Riders. He'd know what to do. Steele, I need your help, man. I've got a situation. While Marcus explained in low tones, Lily waited patiently, still holding out that $100 bill like it was a ticket to salvation. When he hung up, Marcus sat down on the curb and patted the spot next to him. Lily sat, her small frame barely taking up any space. Lily, I can't be your dad, but I'm going to help you and your mama get somewhere safe. My friend is calling some people who know how to deal with situations like this. But I need to know. Does your mama want to leave Kenny? Lily's face crumpled for the first time. I don't know. Sometimes she cries and says we should go. But then Kenny says sorry and brings flowers, and Mama says maybe he'll change. But he never changes, mister. He just gets meaner. Call me Hammer. That's what my friends call me. That's a weird name. Despite everything, Marcus smiled. Yeah, I guess it is. I got it because I used to fix motorcycles, always had a hammer in my hand. What about that $100? Where'd you really get it? Lily looked down. I found it in Kenny's wallet. I know stealing is wrong. Mama taught me that, but I thought maybe if I could find someone to help us, it would be worth it. God forgives you if you do something bad for a good reason, right? Marcus felt his heart breaking and reforming at the same time. This little girl had been so desperate, so scared, that she'd resorted to theft, and not even for herself, but to try to save her mother. I think God's gonna let this one slide, kiddo. Tell you what, you keep that money. When you and your mama get somewhere safe, you're gonna need it. But then how do I pay you? Marcus stood up and held out his hand. You don't. Some things you don't do for money. Come on, let's go find your mama. Lily slipped her small hand into his calloused one, and they walked toward the diner. Inside, the air conditioning was a welcome relief from the desert heat. Marcus spotted them immediately, a thin woman with dark circles under her eyes, hair pulled back in a messy ponytail, sitting across from a man in his 30s with slicked back hair and a too-tight polo shirt. Kenny. The woman looked up as they entered, and her face went pale. Lily, I told you to stay at the table. Kenny's eyes narrowed as he took in the sight of his girlfriend's daughter holding hands with a leather-clad biker. The hell is this? Marcus kept his voice calm but firm. Ma'am, is this your daughter? Yes, I'm so sorry. Did she bother you? Lily, come here right now. Actually, ma'am, we need to talk. My name's Marcus Davidson. Your daughter approached me outside with some concerns about her safety. Kenny stood up abruptly, his chair scraping against the linoleum. This is none of your business, biker trash. Jen, get the kid. We're leaving. But Jen's eyes had locked onto something else. The bruises on Lily's arm, now visible as her sleeve had ridden up. Her face went from pale to ashen. "Lily, what happened to your arm?" "Kenny grabbed her," Marcus said flatly. "She showed me. She also told me this isn't the first time." The diner had gone quiet. A waitress stood frozen with a coffee pot. 2 truckers had turned to watch. The manager had emerged from the back, phone already in hand. Kenny's face flushed red. "This is garbage. The kid bruises easy. She's always running into things." "Tell them, Jen." But Jen was staring at her daughter, really seeing her for the first time in months. Seeing the fear in her eyes, the way she pressed herself against the biker's leg for protection, the resigned sadness in her small face. "Lily," Jen whispered, "did Kenny hurt you?" Lily nodded, tears finally spilling down her cheeks. "He hurts you too, Mama. I see it. Even when you try to hide it. I tried to find us a new dad, one who would be nice. I'm sorry I couldn't find one sooner." Jen started crying then, and Kenny made a move toward the door. But Marcus stepped in his path, and the 2 truckers stood up as well. The manager spoke up. "Police are on their way. Nobody's going anywhere." "This is insane!" Kenny shouted. "I never—" "Save it," one of the truckers said. "I've seen enough to know exactly what's going on here." When the police arrived 10 minutes later, they found quite a scene. Kenny, restrained in a booth by 2 truckers, and a biker while spewing threats and denials. Jen, sobbing while holding her daughter. Lily, telling her story with the heartbreaking clarity that only an abused child can muster. And Marcus, standing guard like a tattooed angel. The officers took statements, photographed the bruises, and eventually led Kenny away in handcuffs. One of the officers, a woman in her 40s with kind eyes, sat down with Jen. "Ma'am, we're going to connect you with resources. There's a shelter about 30 miles from here, safe and secure. They'll help you get on your feet, find work, maybe get some counseling for you and your daughter." Jen looked overwhelmed. I don't have much money. I don't know how—" "They'll help you with all of that," the officer assured her. "But you have to want to go. You have to want to stay away from him." Jen looked at her daughter, who was sitting next to Marcus, swinging her legs and drinking a chocolate milk the waitress had brought her. "I want to go. I should have left months ago. I was scared, and I thought I couldn't do it alone." "You're not alone," Marcus said quietly. "And you're stronger than you think. Your daughter certainly is." The officer nodded. "We'll give you both a ride to the shelter. They're expecting you." As Jen went to gather their few belongings from Kenny's car, Lily walked up to Marcus and held out the $100 bill again. "I don't need a new dad now," she said. "Mama's going to keep us safe, but I still want to pay you for helping." Marcus crouched down one more time. "Lily, you know what I think? I think you helped me more than I helped you. I was having a pretty bad day, and then this brave little girl reminded me why I do the work I do, so we're even, okay? What work do you do?" "My club, the Desert Riders. We help veterans and their families. People who are going through tough times. People who need someone to stand with them. Maybe that's kind of like what you do. Standing up for your mama even when you're scared." Lily thought about this, then carefully folded the $100 bill and tucked it into her dress pocket. "Then I'll save it, for when Mama and me need it. Thank you, Hammer." She threw her arms around his neck in a fierce hug, and Marcus felt something crack open inside him that had been sealed shut for years. When she pulled back, she was smiling. The first real smile he'd seen from her. "You know what?" she said. "You can't be my dad, but maybe you could be like an uncle? Do uncles visit sometimes?" Marcus glanced at the police officer, who was smiling. "I think we can arrange something like that, if your mama says it's okay." Jen, who had returned with a small backpack, nodded through her tears. "I think we'd like that." If this story has touched your heart, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Bike Diaries. We bring you stories that prove heroism comes in all forms, that courage isn't measured by size or age, and that sometimes the smallest voices carry the most important messages. Tell us in the comments. Have you ever noticed something important that others missed? Your story might inspire someone else. 3 months later, Marcus pulled his Harley into the parking lot of a small apartment complex in Tempe. It was a modest place, but clean and safe, with a playground where children laughed and played without fear. Lily saw him coming and ran out to meet him, her mother following at a more sedate pace. The little girl looked transformed. Her hair was neatly braided, her clothes clean and new, and most importantly, the haunted look had left her eyes. "Uncle Hammer, you came." "Told you I would, kiddo. I keep my promises." Jen hugged him. "Marcus, thank you. Again. The shelter helped me get a job at a medical office. It's just receptionist work, but it's a start. And Lily's in a really good school. She's doing so well." "That's all you, Jen. You did the hard part. You chose to leave. You chose to start over. I just happened to be there at the right time." "No," Lily said seriously. "You chose to help when you didn't have to. Lots of people walk past when they see something wrong. You didn't." Marcus pulled a wrapped package from his saddlebag. "Got you something. Early birthday present." Lily tore into it with the enthusiasm of a normal 7-year-old, not the scared child he'd met in that parking lot. Inside was a book. The Paperbag Princess. "It's about a princess who saves herself," Marcus explained. "Kind of reminded me of someone I know." Lily clutched the book to her chest. "Will you read it to me?" "Sure thing. Let's go inside." As they walked toward the apartment, Jen's hand on her daughter's shoulder and Lily chattering about her new school and her new friends, Marcus felt something he hadn't felt in a very long time. Purpose. Peace. The kind that comes from knowing you made a difference when it mattered. That evening, after reading 3 chapters of the book, Lily insisted they couldn't stop at just one. Marcus prepared to leave. Lily walked him out to his bike. "Uncle Hammer, can I ask you something?" "Shoot, kiddo." "That day at the truck stop, why did you help us? Really?" Marcus was quiet for a moment, choosing his words carefully. "I had a daughter once. She'd be about your age now. She's not here anymore. But I think if she were, I'd hope someone would help her if she needed it. So, I guess I helped you for her. And for me? And because sometimes we get chances to do the right thing, and we have to take them." Lily processed this with the seriousness of a child who's seen too much, too soon. Then she said, "I think your daughter would be proud of you." Marcus felt tears prick his eyes for the first time in years. "Thanks, Lily. That means a lot." She hugged him again, then ran back inside where her mother was waiting. As Marcus fired up his Harley and pulled out of the parking lot, he looked back once to see them standing in the doorway, waving. A mother and daughter who'd found their way to safety, who'd found their strength, who'd found their peace. And it had all started with a brave little girl in a yellow sundress, clutching a $100 bill and asking a stranger for help. Some people might say Marcus saved them that day. But as he rode into the Arizona sunset, the desert wind whipping past him, he knew the truth. They had saved him right back. The road stretched out before him, and Marcus rode on, knowing that some journeys don't have endings. They just have moments where everything changes. And sometimes those moments come from the most unexpected places, from the smallest voices carrying the most important messages. Thank you for watching. If this story reminded you to trust your instincts, to speak up when something feels wrong, and to never underestimate the power of paying attention, please share it. Subscribe to Bike Diaries for more stories that prove heroes are everywhere. Courage comes in all forms, and sometimes the smallest person in the room has the biggest impact. Tell us in the comments. What would you have done in Lily's place?